I didn't want to fail or give up either, because it's like, okay, I chose not to go to university for this. And it's something that when you genuinely enjoy it and you like the process and you like the hustle, it's easy. Like I've been in it for so long now, from such a young age. I learned the right way right away. So now it's a lifestyle. It's
Right.
not, I don't see it as a career or a business. It's a lifestyle.
Right. Anna Tran, welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on it.
It's so great to have you here. We've been talking about it for a very long time, have had a few reschedules, but we're finally here. You're a super interesting person. You
Aw.
really inspired me. Like, I actually mean that from the
you.
bottom of my heart. And for people who don't know, you are a real estate agent at REMAX Realty.
Correct.
You bought and flipped a house at age 22, which is mind-blowing. We'll definitely get into that. And also, you've done like some really interesting things. You've been on like the board of, talk to me about, what is that board of trust something?
I think you're talking about the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. That's our age to have already accomplished those kinds of things. That's super awesome. I'm really excited to have you here. Let's first like talk about your story a little bit. Let's rewind before real estate or anything. Tell us like how you even got into it, how you even got there.
Oh, okay. So my parents immigrated here from Vietnam right after the Vietnam War. My parents never had a chance to go to school, high school. They had to work the farming land. Third world country, typical story, wanted the white picket fence, the American dream. So they came to Canada. They had already had my brother and sister, and then they had me and my younger brother while we were here. And the one thing, like, I didn't see my parents very much growing up, just because they always worked odd and end job just to kind of make everything meet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put food on the table. I didn't realize that growing up. I realize it now. But the one requirement they had was like, you need to get a good education. You need to go to school. That was something that we weren't privileged enough to have. We want you to get into the best schools, get the best degrees. And my older brother was like the example child of that. Like, you know how annoying it is having like a sibling that's just so perfect, never parties, never goes out, honor roll every single year in high school, full scholarship to university, gets a CPA, gets this cushiony job. Then it's like, shit, I have to live up to that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like struggling making it through high school. And
It's a lot of expectations.
100%.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've always had since I was younger was work ethic. I love hustling. I love working. Even after grade 6, I'd go work at my parents' friend's nail salon, just making anything I can. I always worked several jobs throughout high school, and that's where I kind of landed on real estate. So I started interning for one of Ottawa's top real estate teams, and then they hired me after. They said, you know what, we like what you're doing, just stay on, do admin, do marketing. And this was after school, along with my 2 other weekend restaurant jobs. And This
Wow.
is in high school when I was about 17. So I actually started when I was 16 in real estate interning, and then I got hired when I was 17. And my whole goal was to go to school because that's what my parents wanted. And I wanted to kind of do what my older brother did and go to a really good commerce school, maybe Queens or even Ottawa U or anything, go for business, get a degree. And I would have had to pay for university out of my own pocket on my own. And that's expensive, right? Like, I wasn't going to get a scholarship. I wasn't that kind of smart kid. So I worked a lot, and I wanted to save money to go to university because I knew it would be a lot of money. And I was talking to the guys I was working for one day. And by the way, throughout high school, 17, 18, I was sending them leads for
Right.
real estate. Like, I'd meet people at grocery stores and they'd be like, oh, like, you're so cute. What do you do? I'm like, I work with a real estate team. You should buy and sell. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I was hustling. I was sending them business, and they would give me like $400. And I thought that was huge.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I was like, oh man, like, I'm making bank, right?
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize how much they were making. That's the funny part. So one day they said, like, do you know how much you could actually make? Instead of paying to get a business degree. Why don't you take a year off and try starting your own business? And I'm like, you know what? That's a great idea. Let's do it. So just like that, I'm like, I'm not going to school. I'm not going to university. Let's try this real estate thing out.
Oh my God.
And I was so terrified to tell my parents.
Well, that's the big thing, right? How are they going to react to that when they're like typical like immigrant parents who are like, you got to go to school, you got to get the education. How'd you break it to them?
I just told them, I said, I don't think this is for me. They're like, yeah, we didn't think you'd make it through university either. I love that. I thought they beat my ass, honestly. I thought, I'm like, all right, I'm getting like shunned from the family. And they said, they're like, you know what? We know every single one of our kids. Of course, we would have liked if you got it, but you're going to do just fine. We believe in you. And that was all huge. I needed. And from there, when I was 18, I spent the year to get my real estate license, got licensed at the end of 2015. So this is about my 5th year in real estate sales. Wow.
And I even remember back then, I even knew you back then, even before you were officially a real estate agent, when you were still doing the ORIA, like all those courses and stuff that you had to do. And I always it interested me how much of like a laser focus you had even at that younger age of like, I want to do this thing, I'm gonna do this thing, and now here you are really doing this thing.
Well, you know what, like I didn't want to fail or give up either, because it's like, okay, I chose not to go to university for this, and it's something that when you genuinely enjoy it and you like the process and you like the hustle, it's easy. Like I've been in it for so long now, from such a young age. I learned the right way right away. So now it's a lifestyle. It's not, I don't see it as a career or a business. It's a lifestyle.
Right. You don't feel like, oh, I got to turn it off when I go home and then just completely unplug and relax. I can tell that you actually enjoy it. You enjoy every part of the process as much, if not more, than the outcome.
Yeah, there's busy times and there's slow times and there's flexible times, and you got to love every part of it, right? And I think that's why I'm just uniquely who I am, regardless if in my career or not. So I'm just who I am.
I think it's really important what you brought up earlier about your parents kind of showing that faith in you, though, and that, hey, you're not doing this one thing, but you're still... like, we still believe in you, and whatever you're going to do, you're going to be successful at. And like, people don't realize, like, at a younger age, like those catalyzing moments, like how much they actually affect the trajectory of your life. Because let's say they had like cracked the whip and like, no, you're going to university. You have to do the 4 years. I don't care what you do after that, but you have to do this. Like, you would have just... you probably would not have enjoyed it. Yeah, you probably would have got your degree knowing you. You probably still would have like done it, but would you have then, started this career now? It's very interesting.
Yeah, and you see how people are as grown adults. It's a direct reflection of how they were raised and how they were brought up.
Yep.
Like, I saw my parents work hard growing up, right? Yeah. So when people say like, where do you get your work ethic from? It's, well, that's all I really know. So, but then again, you also see kids get neglected by their parents. Then that's how they turn out as an adult. All your traits are directly reflected to you.
I 100% agree with that. And, you know, a lot of our actions actually, I feel like, stem from fear a lot of the time. And if you're conditioned to fear things, you're not going to take risks. You're not going to do things that could put you in a position where you know your parents are going to be disappointed. And it's such a natural thing as like the children of immigrant parents to, you just want to make them proud because they've already sacrificed so much. So what's the easiest way I could do that? Yeah. But sometimes, and actually I'd even go so far to say as like most times, if you actually really just follow your gut and like, hey, this thing, like I don't want to wake up at age 80 like I never did that thing.
That's it.
If I don't do it, I'm actually letting them down more in the long run.
I don't know if you well, we saw each other at the local talks. Well, we had an after party. Anyways, so a guy came up to me from the local talks that I hadn't seen in years, and I know his buddy, and his buddy referred me to his parents to buy an income property.
Okay.
And he came up to me at the local talks night and said, hey, I wanted to let you know before I forget. I've been meaning to tell you this like years ago, but the fact that, you know, you helped his parents buy an income property, that made a bigger effect than you realize, because his parents, and these are older, like they're our age, he said, you know, they always thought of us as kids and that, you know, we don't know what we're doing. And he's said, you know, you proved that we have network that's valuable to them. And he just came up to me and thanked me. And it was just, and again, immigrant parents, it's a different dynamic. And, you know, growing up with an immigrant parents, you always have to work up to their respect and work up to gain their trust, or like, oh, I'm an adult now, you know, it doesn't matter to them.
Absolutely.
So that was so heartwarming to hear him say that, hey, that made a big impact on our lives, because now, like, his parents respect us on an adult level, because, you know, we have that network and we know what's going on and we're connected.
Yeah. Well, our parents can learn as much from us as we learned from them growing up. And it's something that you touched on, the impact you could have. And that's really interesting to me. When you first got into real estate, what was kind of the mindset of what this career is like? Just thinking, what is real estate like to you? And then now, what you know about the industry, what are some of the biggest disparities?
Oh man, it's such a big industry. Everything from first home to investment properties, multifamily, mortgages, everything. It's such a complex, but also so simple. Like, it's so complex yet so simple. When I started in real estate sales, I thought, oh, like, this is fun. I get to show people condos and houses and help them buy their first home. And now I realize it's so much more than that. Now I'm in the game of, you know, flipping, and I've helped developers tear down houses and build from scratch, and seeing the profits and seeing the difference it makes in people's lives. And it's just so much wider than I thought it'd be. And you could really niche certain markets, certain demographics, like figured out what I like the most, and now I focus on that.
And which is what?
I love, of course, working with first-time home buyers, because that's our age, so it's the easiest to connect with.
Millennials.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not your dad's realtor, right? They want to work with someone that connects with them, that they relate to. But I also love the investment aspect of it, buying income properties, flipping houses. I did a few developments on this street that we're on. So I love the actual development game and seeing homes be built from ground up. Before I started in real estate sales in 2015, I did new construction development with Domicile. So I was on their sales site. I saw condos being built from ground up. I saw the different packages and finishes, and that's why I have appreciation for homes, design, construction. That's one thing I think I'm particularly good at. Like, I could see a piece of land and say, hey, with this zoning, you could build up to this, you can sell it for this, and that's how you're going to flip a profit. And I love that. It's just the hustle, you know?
Interesting. So you're able to look at something and objectively tell, hey, based on location, based on this, based on blah, 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 all these factors, you know, this is probably going to be the value of it and stuff.
Yep. There's 2 houses I sold down the road where it was a 1920s home, and I said, hey, I have this property. I can sell it to a developer off market. They can sever the property into 2 parcels, build 2 homes on it. And like, what's, you know, like, so I think I sold it for in the 700s. They tore it down, built 2 new ones. And I have, I think, the highest price sale in Westboro for semi-detached right now. And it's the one that my developer built. So
this is nuts, because I didn't want to just graze by that point. Like, I live in the Westboro area, and obviously I'm not in one of those, you know, $1 million yet, those big properties yet, but just walking down my street, this is really like what a big part of why I respect your hustle is. I'm walking down the street, I see Anna Tran, real estate. What's going on? Okay, that's 1. Okay. Then I see 2, and then there's 4. You sold 4 properties on my street alone, and that's just a part of your portfolio. You're out here killing it.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Although it seems like glamorous and fun and selling $1 million homes, it's like I really hustle to keep these clients, because as a developer client or a hot client, everyone's going after them. There's 3,600 realtors in Ottawa.
Wow.
They're getting calls every single day with good offers. Right? So I have to bring something that's unique to my offering, not just another property on market. Or if it's a property on market, why should they buy it with me? and it's building that connection and follow through, following up, following back, everything. And also it's hard for people to wrap their minds around, why should I sell my $1 million property with a 23-year-old girl? What the hell do you know about selling real estate?
That's something I was definitely going to bring up, because people probably look at that and, you know, if you want to, however you want to look at it, they're just going to look at your age and think that's how experienced or how much you know about this industry. How do you counteract these objections at first?
You know what? I don't even think twice about it, because although these quote unquote weaknesses could plague you and could be negative and could be a detriment to your sales, I've only seen it as an advantage.
Right.
Like, my age has been the biggest advantage in everything I've done. And people, yes, some people are more traditional, but people also see me like, man, this girl has a reputation to build. She has a whole career ahead of her. Even though she might not know all the answers, she's gonna, like, they know I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna figure them out, and I'm gonna hustle twice as hard to prove it to them. Whereas maybe some of these older generation realtors, they think, well, you know what, like, they'll just come to me. The business will come to me. Like, I have 20 years of experience. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. What matters is how hard you're gonna work for the client.
Right.
And I gotta be 2 steps ahead.
Okay.
Right? And be so much smarter to prove my worth to them. But
I've
never
more
seen
vigilant.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it as an issue.
So let's take a step back, and for people listening who might not even know about the day-to-day kind of things that a real estate agent like yourself does, let's talk about all the activities and even the mundane, boring ones that, like, people aren't gonna see when they Google, like, real estate agent average salary or this or that, or, like, you know, some of the more sexy aspects that are shown on the outside.
Yeah. So it's hard with HGTV because
$1
million listing. It's only the fun part, which is walking through the listings, right? The majority of the work is paperwork, legal work. And in a market like the one we're in now, it's bidding wars and a lot of disappointed buyers, because how are you going to explain to a first-time home buyer that he needs to pay $50,000 no conditions over asking, or he's not going to get this condo in Orleans? You know what I mean?
It's nuts.
So it's a lot of tough conversations, and it's a lot of lead generation, because, like I said, everyone and their mom wants to kind of get into real estate because they watch HGTV.
Absolutely.
And they think it's glamorous. There's homes where I can't even take my shoes off to walk in because there's missing flooring.
Wow.
Like, some homes are terrible.
Right.
It's only like the top 10% of homes that actually look decent. Right.
And those are priced with that in mind.
Exactly. And it's also working with people who are getting a divorce. That's sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, everything from people who are pregnant, you know?
Yeah.
So it can be hard conversations, and people don't realize that this is a really big purchase. Like, a home is one of the biggest purchases some people make in their entire life.
Yeah.
So that is stressful.
I'd say most people, like, you're probably not throwing around that much money.
Yeah, 6 figures in a down payment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can be very, very stressful, and I understand that, and it's walking them through that.
Yeah.
Or if it's an investment, people bank on, like, this investment better be what it is, the market better not turn, and the marketing better be right, or, like, I'm going to lose everything, right?
So for someone, you know, who might be listening and wants to get into real estate, what are some of the most important skills you've had to work on outside of just the actual, you know, nitty gritty of real estate, but actual, like, personable skills that you had to work on, or you'd recommend people work on to deal with those challenges?
Everyone's so different, and it depends on what your strengths and weaknesses already are. This one, I would say, is one of my strengths. It's just being very self-aware. And it's because I've also been in it since I was so young. I got to know what I'm better at and worse at. And if you could develop skills of being self-aware, that'll help you so much in the long run.
Absolutely.
And skills I've developed is personality charting people. So I chart people in, let's say, like a disc chart where they land on the spectrum of personalities. So say you have a couple that's viewing a house. The husband is this alpha type personality, but the wife is, you know, more, let's say, like, caring, type personality, how do you cater to sell them that house, right? Like, what do you say? How do you react? Because you got to kind of adapt your personality to match your client.
Absolutely.
And mirror their energy.
Right.
So that's something that gets taken used to. It's just basic sales skills, right? And it's being genuine at the end of the day. Like,
and,
just being you.
Yeah, no, and that's one thing I've noticed, even like when talking with you, you're fully there when you're having a conversation with you. Your mind's not darting 7 other places. You're there, you're present, and you're able to carry any conversation, whether it even be about the weather or some BS. Like, it's just, you're there. And that's a very important skill to have, because I'm like, not to shit on anybody, but there's a lot of people who don't have that. And it's an important, especially when you're dealing with everybody you meet could be a potential client.
That's it.
And so it's not that you're trying to sell everyone, but everyone is a potential, like, if you keep good energy with them and are able to match their energy, this could lead to something in the future. And I like that about you. That's really cool.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So we did touch on it a little bit, but what do you think about some of the trends for house prices in Ottawa? Because you exclusively deal with Ottawa at this point in your career, correct? So how do you feel about like some of the different markets in Ottawa? Give us like your kind of overview, because we did touch on, it's a hot market.
Yeah. So I work with a global brand. A lot of my business actually comes from out of town.
Okay.
So I have partners in Toronto, Gatineau, everywhere that we refer to each other, which is great because that's how I built my business and my brand. And for so long, Toronto, Vancouver was known as like these super hot markets. And for that reason, Ottawa was underpriced for a really long time. Although everyone's saying Ottawa is a really hot market and the prices are going up very quickly, I still think it's underpriced.
It's just catching up.
It's just catching up to where it should be.
Right.
And people kind of get mad when I say that. They're like, what do you mean it's so expensive? Is it expensive or are you just broke?
It's a fact, though.
Right.
Like, we're dealing with supply and demand at the end of the day. There's only so many houses in Ottawa, and people are moving here like crazy. And I mean, pure caveat, I know nothing about real estate. This is not my space. But from my real estate friends and speaking with people who know a little bit more about it, a townhome will go up and it's gone like that. Over asking, like, all kinds of different properties, single, freehold, even condos are being sold over asking like crazy. At what point do you think that does kind of cool down? Obviously, you don't have a crystal ball. You can't give me a date, but at what part of this cycle do you think we're in then?
People ask me that all the time. I think Ottawa still got a few good, really, really hot years. It's going to keep going up. We have an influx of people coming in from Toronto. Because if you think about it, Ottawa prices are still extremely affordable. Compared to Toronto and some other surrounding marketplaces. And we have a really, really high standard of living, right? Like, I know people say it's boring. It's still a good place to live in terms of pricing. Everyone's saying, because I get everything, people asking me about real estate opinions, and people are telling me, oh, I'll buy when the bubble bursts.
I hear that a lot.
Listen, at what price will the bubble burst at? Ottawa is very, very steady due to military, RCMP, government transfers. And if there were, say, to be a bubble, is it going to burst at average price being $700,000? And when it bursts, it's just going to be steady. It's not just going to randomly decline.
Right.
Right?
And if you just look at the demographics, like you mentioned, Ottawa has like some of the highest average income in Canada.
Yeah.
So if you have a bunch of people who, I mean, the affordability or not, whatever, but they're getting a steady income, they're going to want to buy a place for them and their family. So I guess kind of my next question then, for the younger millennial, how do you kind of like reassure them that, hey, like, there still is a place for you in this market, just get your bread up? Like, how do you break that to them?
I get a lot of people DMing me, asking me about different promotions, different like government incentives. How do I buy a house with no money? Like, I get every single question in the world DM to me, and realistically, I don't feel the need like I should reassure them. It's just work hard, make money, save your money, buy a house. There's still good money to be made. There's still a lot of money to be made in the real estate market. There's a lot of money to be made everywhere, and prices are still decently affordable. You can still get a condo for $300,000, guys. It's not a lot.
Yeah. And I don't know if
Stop buying stupid shit.
yeah,
Honestly.
there's a lot of that for sure. Like a lot of people will complain about being broke or not being able to afford certain things, but then be spending a lot of money on dumb things that don't actually add to their income making ability.
You'll be surprised how many people have asked me how to buy a house with no money down. It's like, do you expect things to be given to you? I don't. Or people ask me as if I like scam the system. I'm like, well, how did you buy a house? And I worked and I saved my money and I bought a house. You know what I mean? There's no like secret trick to it. Like there's a lot of courses that are like these get rich quick kind of things. Guys, just work hard, man.
Yeah, it really,
It's okay.
There's so many.
Patience. Work hard, be patient.
There's a lot of those schemes and things going around right now where it's just like people want that instant outcome without putting in the work, without having the long-term thinking. You mentioned you bought a house.
Yes.
And this is another thing I wanted to talk about because
Let's do it.
it's pretty dope. At what age?
22.
22. So you bought a house in Blackburn, Orleans kind of area, and you flipped. It was a flip. So it watching that journey, like from start to finish, over your stories and stuff, like, hey guys, bought this house. Hey guys, hate this floor, hate this, like renovating, gutted it, made it super pretty and super nice. And we were chatting before the podcast because you had a little housewarming party, and it was so great. You could not tell it was that house. Now, talk to me about this journey. What made you buy the house?
So it's a house from the late 1970s, 1979 it was built, but I had actually been looking for a house 2 years prior.
Wow.
Like I started in real estate young, and the one thing everyone asked me was, well, do you have a house, or like what qualifies you to like help us buy and sell a house, right?
Okay. So there's a bit of that too.
Yeah, like, you know what, I don't recommend for everyone to buy a house young. Like, don't make it like, I see so many people making it an ego thing, like I have to buy a house. It's like, no, you don't. Like, figure shit out. Like, and so many real estate agents will say, yeah, buy. But it's like, buy when you're ready. Do things when you're ready. You don't need to be an entrepreneur right away. You know what I mean? It's like, figure it out as you go.
Absolutely.
And make sure you're not house broke.
Right. So that's another thing I was going to bring up.
Yeah. That's so important. Live in your means. And so I started looking when I was 21. Not picky, didn't really know where I wanted to live. Orleans, downtown. Do I buy a condo? Do I buy a townhouse? I wasn't even thinking of doing a flip, but I've been selling so many homes to flip for clients and seeing how much money they're making, and also working with developers in these custom homes. I'm like, you know what? I just don't want another basic box house. I want to make something that's so uniquely me. And if you go into the house, so I mean, I got this house in a bidding war, six offers on the table.
Wow.
So I went in like no conditions, like way over asking, but it's still a good deal. So that's what people like think, oh, I'm in a bidding war, I'm going to overpay. You're not overpaying if it's still a good deal. That's how I see it. Because now the houses on my street, in the old condition my house is in, is selling for $100,000 more, right? You let the market do its thing. Real estate is tried and true. 9 out of 10 millionaires become millionaires by doing so through real estate.
Interesting.
Like it's tried and true.
Right.
So anyways, I bought this house, completely gutted and renovated it. And whatever I do, I like to make it so uniquely me. Like everything from the tiles and the paint. I was picking pink and green tiles for my powder room. Everyone's like, are you crazy? That looks so stupid. Like, yeah, but it's me and I like it. And it worked out. Right. Yeah. So I'm happy with it. I turned it into it's a semi-detached. I turned it into a 4-bedroom. I rent out the basement and one of the bedrooms upstairs. I have the master bedroom, and I turned the 3rd bedroom into my office. My mortgage payment, honestly, we'll talk numbers, including property taxes, maybe $1,500 a month. I get $1,700 and I live there for free.
Wow.
So for a millennial, that would actually be my advice. If you're trying to get in, get a place, rent out the rooms.
Right.
Make a little cash.
It's cash flow positive, which is amazing. Especially like that's honestly the ideal thing.
Oh man, CRA can't see this video though.
What cash flow?
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
what you're
just an
talking about.
example. It's just an example.
This is just a textbook.
Hypothetically speaking. Yeah, that's a scenario that could happen. Yeah.
No, but I really like the way you've kind of done that and set that up, and then with having tenants basically paying your mortgage.
Yeah, potentially paying my mortgage.
Potentially paying your mortgage. It's like it's a great setup because in the future you're kind of setting yourself up. You could still save a big portion of your income, and you're not stuck there. It's still pretty temporary. Not to say you don't like it. It's great. It's still yours. But at one point, I know you're probably already thinking of the next thing and the next thing after that.
The best part about renovating, even if it's like I renovated the whole house, even if you did minor renovations and you let the market do its thing, you can refinance that house, pull out the equity, and put it into another house. And that's how you play the monopoly game and start getting more properties, right?
Yeah.
So realistically, if I didn't have a down payment for another house, I could refinance mine, take that money, and buy another.
Wow.
That's how you make money, right?
That's awesome. That's basically creating money.
Exactly, yeah. You got to create opportunities that way. And that's why it's good to have a team of people that work with you. Like people like realtor, mortgage broker, lawyer, like set that up so that if you're looking to build your portfolio, you know you have that team to go to and that they're always keeping you in mind for deals as well.
Well, that's a big thing, and it's your network, right? So when you went about, purchasing this property, knowing it needed to be fixed up, knowing you can't live there for, how long did it take, beginning to end?
4 months until I moved in. 4 months until
4
I moved
months?
in, yeah.
Okay. You had to get contractors and people to do this work for you. And a lot of the things you talked about purchasing, talk to us about how you got the stuff for the house and how you picked everything and like.
Yeah. I don't think I paid full price for a single thing in that house besides the house itself.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I found deals. I shopped clearance section at tile stores, and I got good contractors. Luckily, I work with developers, so they gave me their trades guys, so I knew they're already reputable. If you're renovating $1 million house in Westboro, you can definitely do mine. So, it was a huge process and learning curve. I don't recommend that everyone does a flip because it's a lot of work, and you do got to be there.
Yeah,
you have to be on site to make sure they're doing their job. Because they don't know your house. They don't know what you want.
And they need to know your vision, and you have to make sure it's executed perfectly. And it wasn't just this easy road.
No.
It seemed, and watching the stories and stuff, and I'm going to keep referring back to that because I legitimately watched them and I was like, this is so cool.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, because not everyone our age, no one, maybe a couple people, but not many people are flipping houses, and it's like you see this on the HGTVs and the whatever, and it just seems like, well, like I couldn't do that right now at this stage, and here you are, you actually did it. But it wasn't just an easy journey. There was a lot of back and forth things you had, and headaches. It's a headache.
And with contractors as well, if you're not there on, they do try to screw you, especially being a younger girl. Like it's a hard business. Managing trades, I'll talk to the painter the night before and say, okay, I'll see you tomorrow 8 a.m. and he just won't show up. If you're not there, they just won't show up. They don't take it seriously. They're so busy with so many there's so many trades jobs available for them. They don't really care, right? So you really got to be on top of the scheduling and managing, and it was a huge learning curve for me.
Interesting. What's the next purchase going to be? Would it be in Ottawa? Would it be outside of Ottawa?
Yeah.
Are you already planning this?
So one of the reasons why I decided to actually go for a flip for my first property is because I wanted to not just sell flips to people. I wanted to be an example, right? I didn't want to just tell people you should do this. I wanted to do it myself and prove to them why you should do it.
Right.
I'm the type of person where I want to practice what I preach.
Absolutely.
So I've been looking for my next property over the winter break. I put an offer in 2 different properties. I offered a little too low, but that's okay because there's also a point where you need to know what price to walk away at.
Right. And from your experience that, it might be, what's the word? I guess an overzealous seller. Would that be the term? Someone who's really no, it's worth this much, and the market might say otherwise.
So I'm kind of referring to like in a bidding war. Some buyers get so worked up and just wanting to win the bid that they way overpay for it.
Oh, okay.
So, for instance, and I have this conversation with a lot of my buyers when we go into bidding wars. I say, what price are you willing to walk away from the property at? And we discuss it, and I say, okay, let's stick to that. And because I have this discussion with them, they're not disappointed when they see someone bid 25,000 above what they offered, because they're like, you know what, they're kind of crazy to pay that price. And I tell them, I agree.
Yeah.
You tried your best, and on to the next, right?
Yeah. You got to have that number, because if not,
Yeah.
the ego can also
That's
get in
it.
the way, and you don't want post-buyer remorse in something like a house.
A lot that's happening a lot in the marketplace right now, where buyers are kind of stepping back and thinking, shit, I overpaid for that, and then they draw back their offer.
Yeah, and that's not good.
It
It's
messes
not good for
everything up.
anybody.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
a
not.
lose.
And then the seller is mad because it's
Yeah.
like, well, I thought I got this price, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah.
So you got to have that discussion with your buyer, and that's something I talk to my clients a lot about.
So kind of like the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is, you mentioned, well, no, you didn't mention this, but how do you respond to kind of like some of the criticism out there about real estate agents? And this isn't me speaking, but
No, for sure.
I've heard many people out there kind of dismiss the whole profession, and
Yeah.
I recognize the value of it and how
Yeah.
much that goes into the process, but how do you kind of respond to that? Like,
You know what? A lot of it, I do kind of agree. I gotta say, like, objectively speaking, it's one of those industries that are so easy to get in, so hard to stay in. It's really high turnover. Only 1 out of 4 agents sell anything all year. Wow. Yeah.
wow.
And it's
And
really,
is this full time or part time as well, lumped into that?
well, one out of every 3 agents drop out every year.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Because people watch HGTV, they think they can do it part-time. They think they're going to get in and be a millionaire, and that's
Yeah.
just not how it works.
Those
right?
stats are even crazier in Toronto. Like, just the
Yeah.
sheer amount of real estate
They have like
agents.
60,000 or
Yeah,
something.
something nuts. Like, that's like a real estate agent for every, like, I don't know, few people,
Yeah.
which is nuts. All these people competing for obviously bigger ticket houses. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna bigger commissions if you do close the sale, but you're swimming in a tank with sharks, you know.
It's hard because kind of like what I mentioned earlier, I do have to compete for a lot of my clients, especially the hot ones, the ones that are developing, the ones that are putting up these $1 million listings, because who doesn't want a $1 million listing, right? So I'm always having to prove my value, but when people see the value, they get it. And it's also like, it's not like the client sells houses every day.
Yeah,
So why would they take that task on,
I get that.
right? When
Yeah.
someone could do it better, faster, quicker, for more money.
Interesting. Yeah, because when you have more money, you just want it to get taken care of. But
It's like
then,
dyeing your own hair. Like you can, but do you really want to?
exactly. You could outsource this and get it done way better.
Yeah, exactly.
So then also, like, kind of to that point, you're seeing a lot more, I guess, no commission kind of agencies out there. What are your thoughts on those? And like, what would you say is the benefit of someone choosing Anna Tran to sell my house
Yeah.
as opposed to a no commission, like, I don't know what they're called, like Grapevine or Comfree or something like
Yeah.
that?
You know what? They've always been there. And I get why people try it. And there are some people that are totally capable of doing it. And I agree. But I mean, I don't even think twice about it. People talk about it, but I'm like, that's like, I'm so tunnel vision
yeah.
on like what I'm doing. Like, that's not even the clientele that I'm looking for.
Right.
Like, I'm not a discount brokerage. It's full service. Like, when you hire me, you hire a team, and it's professional photographers. Everyone's outsourced at what they're best at. Like, I don't come in with a camera and pretend to like take photos of your house.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, this is a professional service. And there's different degrees of that, and that's okay. And that's just not the clientele I'm looking for. And it's always been there. So I don't think it'll ever go away. But it's also like we were talking about earlier with the bidding wars and the first-time home buyers. As a first-time home buyer, how are you going to really know how to navigate the market and buy a house?
Right.
You're going to want a realtor.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
To help you with, it's things that you just like, you can't buy
Yeah.
that experience. Like,
And it's a lot of legalities to it.
yeah. And you have lawyers you can reach out
That's
to.
it.
These people. Oh, I have the
Insurance,
inspector,
everything.
this, that, everything.
That's it.
It's full service. So
That's it.
that's powerful. And I like how you said that. That's not my clientele.
It's not.
It's
like, I don't really stress
don't care.
over it.
Not losing
like,
any
I'm
sleep
not,
over you guys, man. It is what it is.
And you know what?
I'm selling
Yeah.
homes in Westboro. I think I'm good.
No, I'm not saying it that way.
No, I'm
like,
joking. I know what you mean. I'm
Yeah.
joking around. Yeah.
I've worked with I cooperate a lot with what's like for sale by owners, and I just deal with it the way I deal with everything else, so it doesn't affect me. No.
This question is kind of coming out of complete ignorance for how being a real estate agent is structured.
Sure.
Because like it is your own business, you are running it, but you are under a REMAX umbrella. This question's kind of, and correct me if I'm completely like off base and ignorant, but do you have plans to branch out and go on your own, so you're completely your own like brokerage, like yeah?
No, that's a great question, actually. And speaking about it earlier, talking about how I have referral partners in Toronto and Gatineau and different parts of the world. And that's the good part about being with a global company. It's not just like a boutique local. There's value in both, but I see tremendous value in saying that your listing is being translated into 42 different languages. Because it's a global economy. You can't just be like a small local boutique anymore, because someone coming from Toronto to buy doesn't know what the hell you are.
Yeah, they don't even know what rep you have, or trust me, I've done this many things in Orleans. Like,
at the end of the day, it comes down to the person more than anything in your branding. But if my girlfriend Jen, who's a colleague in Oshawa, is referring me a client in Ottawa, and she's with the same company, they're going to trust her, and I know her through the global resources and branding and our company, so she's going to send it to me.
Awesome.
Right? So a lot of my deals come from out of town, and it's the relationships I build with them, and it's the conferences I see them at, and it's also like our conferences aren't just like a local meetup at Moxie's. It's like we have Gary Vaynerchuk come speak to us. Right. And there's a lot of growth and learning at these conferences and networking. So that's so important. That's kind of why I threw the party that you were at the other night. It's, networking. It's young professionals.
Yep.
It's let's get to know each other even outside of business and work.
Absolutely.
So,
and
it's important. Networking's important.
This is networking too.
Yeah,
what we're doing right now, and like, hundreds of people are going to listen to this.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh, absolutely. Like, of course, as soon as they see Anna Tran, they're going to be like, yo, let me download that. No, but like, even for me, like from like the podcasting standpoint, everyone's been asking, oh, well, how are you going to monetize? Or, oh, how are you going to get to this next level? How are you going to be this big or that big or compete? I'm like, dude, I am like, the doors this is opening for me is so much more important than any dollar value. I'm meeting so many cool people. I'm having great conversations that are, documented forever. We can always go refer back to this. And it was I think one of your toasts, one of your many forced toasts that night. But you were just talking about how just like we're all hustlers. We all have, our passions and our lanes and stuff. And we're gonna grow, and this is just the beginning. Like, we have 100%. So much to like grow, and I'm excited to look back when we do another podcast a few years from now, and like, you remember like that one we did, like, this is where our mindset was at, and this is where it's at now, and it's just gonna, I love it. This feeds me more than like, oh yeah, I got a sponsor and they sent me some protein bars. Yeah, cool, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you definitely. It's very exciting, and I'm so glad you liked my toasts I did that evening.
I loved it. Well, for people who don't know, like the charcuterie board setup she had, I've never seen this much food. It was a whole dining table. Just like, there was no space for anything but all this amazing food, meat, olives, everything, like everything you could imagine. So it was done really well. I had a lot of fun. But getting back to it, let's did I miss anything kind of major in real estate before we kind of move on to our next topic? Because I grazed on a lot of topics, and it's not that deep, so we can't just sit here for hours and talk about the nitty-gritty details. But is there any like big picture thing that you really just wanted to tell the viewers about real estate?
think we talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they can DM me if they have any questions.
DM Anna Tran. Anna Tran Real Estate. Always hustling. I love it.
You know what? I talk so much about it. I don't even know what people want to know anymore at this point, right?
Well, actually, I just came up with another question then.
Okay.
Like, so are you thinking about doing any kind of like courses or things where you kind of put on seminars or teach people a bit more about real estate for those who don't know as much?
So I especially love doing the first time home buyer seminars. I already have like a wait list of people who want to come to the next one.
Right.
So that's something I do. I do a lot of coffee meetups and one-on-ones and meetups at my office. I did the 52 coffee challenge this year. So every week I meet someone new for coffee. I've been doing like 3 a week, which is amazing. Because last year I kind of took a little bit off networking. Because I did a lot of networking when I started in real estate. And then I almost like overwhelmed myself. So last year I kind of focused on other priorities and things in my life. And now this year I'm like, you know what? I miss meeting people.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of these coffee meetings, they come organic, and I don't even realize they wanted to talk about real estate. And obviously we end up talking about real estate, and next thing you know, they're buying a house, right? So
that's awesome.
I'm always open to meet, always open to phone call, anything, just to chat about business, chat about real estate, anything. Like, that's something I'd be interested in. So
absolutely. I love it. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the things you do when you're not selling real estate, which is travel. That's another important part of your life. If anyone goes to her Instagram right now, like literally
it's only travel.
all the highlights are just like all the different places she's been. And I love that because travel is a big part of my life. So talk to me about some of the places you've been and why travel means so much to you.
So it's only been a week, I think, that I had all the highlights of a few of the places I've been in the past few months, because people kept DMing me and asking me for like, hey, where do you recommend to go here? And I didn't want to highlight it because I didn't want to like flex to people that I travel a lot. So I didn't really want to push that in people's faces, but people genuinely wanted recommendations. So I thought, you know what, I'll highlight everything. And I love traveling. I love getting away, and I try to get away once every quarter. To kind of clear my mind and focus and meet new people and experience new things. I travel alone a lot. That's something like kind of weird that I do. Like the last destination I went to was LA, I think 2 weeks ago. And it was literally like booked it not even 12 hours before.
Wow.
And like I remember at midnight, my flight was, I probably booked it at like 5 p.m. My flight, I had to leave my house at 3:30 in the morning. And at midnight, I was still trying to like book a hotel. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But that's the best way to go. No
that's
expectations.
Yeah.
Especially when you're young, it's so important, and it is networking, I'm telling you. Like the people you meet, the places you go, things you experience, that's just so invaluable.
Yeah.
And especially in high-paced, high-volume real estate sales, like you got to take time for yourself and see something new.
Absolutely. Because it's not all just here. And so for
like, what are you making money for, right?
Exactly. You got to see the world. You got to go experience different foods, cultures, people, and just experiences in general.
That's
and
it.
I didn't really even know that until I actually went on an international exchange to Norway. I think we were briefly talking about that. And that kind of really opened my eyes to just like, first of all, like I could just hop on a jet and go anywhere I want, like at any time. Like, in Europe, it's so easy, right, to just get around. And so I got to visit, I think like I went to over 10 or 12 countries.
That's amazing.
Just, and you talked about traveling solo. A lot of those I did alone. And so it might sound weird, and like, I don't know why, actually. I think it's actually more fun almost.
Yeah, you're not waiting up on anyone. You're doing whatever you want. It's amazing.
You're in complete control of your schedule. You do whatever you want when you want.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're even the person who's like needs to chill. Like oh my god, like all these expectations to do all these things. I just want to hang out for today.
That's it.
So you just do that. But I think it's really important. I've met some of the most amazing people just in hostels, hotels, Airbnb, like all these different places. Just like you just meet so many different people, and you get to like download a part of their culture.
That's it. Learn from it, experience it, and that's so invaluable. And I also think partly why I like to travel alone is because I have this weird thing about me that I love putting myself in uncomfortable situations, and that just forces you to grow.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing, so about a month ago, I sat down with the guy I work for, and I was asking him, like, hey, what are like your sales goals this year? What are your plans? Like, what are you doing in terms of marketing? He told me all of his plans are really cool, like flyers, ads, this and that, new website. And I asked him, cool, so what should I do? What should I do to make the most amount of money this year? And this is the craziest part that I got so shook by. Like, I was so shook I had to go home and take a nap after.
Okay.
And think this is a guy that makes money off my bottom line. So for him, he wants me to produce as high as I can. But you know what he said to me? He said, you know what? At your age, what you're doing where you are, just keep doing a little bit more of what you're doing. Keep working hard. But he's like, don't stop traveling. Don't stop living your life. He's like, I see what you're doing. And he's like, I wish I was enjoying my life and having such a balanced life like you do at that you do at your age, right? Because he said, you know, I hustled so hard and I did 4 open houses a weekend. He's like, I made a ton of money, but I hated my life. And he said, he's like, man, it seems like you're having a good time. You have a house, you know, you're healthy. Just keep doing it. He's like, it's not all about the money. Just keep working hard. Yeah. And it'll just come.
It's definitely a part of the equation. Yeah. And like, obviously making money is a big goal and it's very important. But if you can't enjoy it and if you can't experience things, you're never going to be younger.
I was so surprised when he said that, honestly.
It's so that is powerful. You want to hear that from, you know, someone who's signing your paychecks or like, you know, like, well, you know what I mean by that.
For a guy that's, you know, at his age, basically looking back and being like, I wish I traveled more. Yeah. That was like fuel for me to.
That's validating.
That's validating.
You want to hear that because it almost is looked at by some people as like, you just went on vacation. You're just sitting on some beach, some resort, doing nothing and drinking and just like, you're not being productive. But it's actually a lot more productive. Yeah. You're actually a lot more productive. I find when I've gone on a vacation, I come back refreshed, relaxed. Obviously, I wish I was still wherever I was, or I wish I could be doing more of it. But you come back with this new sense of perspective. I think that's probably the best word for it. It's like, it's a new perspective. Right. Like when you went to LA, you were looking at LA real estate.
Oh man, yeah, like I'm such a nerd. I spent the Sunday going to open houses and looking at how they build homes and how we build homes so differently and how they were selling me on the homes. And I did that genuinely because I love it and I love learning about real estate, and that's why I do love what I do. It's not kidding when I say it's a lifestyle. I was in LA doing it, right? And it's perspective and it opens your eyes to the world. Yeah. So traveling is just so important in that kind of way, and it makes you more cultured. And I know I'm talking about like LA. They're like, hey, how cultured can you be in LA, right? But even when I'm talking to clients, like they ask, like, what do you do for fun? Like, where do you travel? They want to know you're a real person at the end of the day. You're not just like
some robot.
Yeah, some robot. Like they want to know you have like a life and they want to connect with you. Like my clients are my clients because I connect with them and they connect with me, right? And that's how you build trust as well.
Absolutely. I never even thought about it that way. I never thought of travel as like almost a catalyst for conversation and connection, because there's so many times in my life, like right now, where I've talked about my personal travel experiences. Like, oh yeah, one day I just got up and I just went to Italy for 3 weeks. I was like, why not? Let me just go to every major city in Italy, or let me just go island hopping in Greece or Portugal or Spain. Like I just went to all these places, and like if I hadn't done that, there's so many like conversations I've had just, oh yeah, I've been to Barcelona, a great place. Like I really loved this cafe, this thing. And it builds, like you're building this. Yeah, you're getting cultured. You're getting cultured. Yeah. So you're able to more aware. You're able to relate to people because, and this is funny, and you're bringing this out of me now, and this is one of the reasons why I've started this podcast, is because I believe, and I'm still like working on fully formulating this, but I have this belief that all humans are fundamentally the same. I think despite all our differences, you know, you have Vietnamese background, I have Indian background. Doesn't matter. We're all human beings with very similar wants, needs, things that we want to accomplish: health, wealth, happiness, decrease suffering for ourselves and our families, just some basic things. I wouldn't have come to that conclusion if I hadn't met so many people from around the world who look different than me, practice a different religion, do like completely different, but on the outside, like it's superficial. Then you get to know them, you talk to them. Oh, they're just like me.
Yeah, makes you open-minded, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where like it's not that deep.
Yeah.
It gets kind of deep because it's like,
no, 100%.
It's like, you know, you go past that superficial layer, we're all just the same. We're all just trying to make it.
You know, I didn't realize how closed-minded I was until I started traveling.
Absolutely.
And seeing the world in a different light.
Well, you get used to the people that you're surrounded by and these like scripts. These like, this is one that I got caught in even recently, is just like complaining about the weather here, or like, oh, I hate Ottawa so much, the weather sucks. It's like, well, like obviously I don't enjoy winter weather, but I'm still here, right?
Yeah.
Like if I really hated it, like if it was actually, I would have gone.
You would have left. Yeah.
I would have left. So it's kind of like these are just stories we tell ourselves, and we've heard other people say it, so we repeat it. Like, oh, traffic was so horrible today. Like, yeah, but you were in traffic. You're part of it too. So
that's it. That's it. No, you're totally right.
Yeah.
I love traveling for that.
It's huge. It really opens up your mind. One of the next and kind of last topics, if you can believe, we're like almost at an hour.
That's crazy. Just real estate and traveling, right?
Yeah. One of the kind of the last topics I wanted to discuss with you is what kind of books and podcasts and personal growth kind of tools you gravitate towards.
Yeah.
So what are you reading right now? What are you consuming right now that's helping you level up?
So podcasts I'm loving right now, Lewis Howes, ex-NFL player. He has a podcast called The School of Greatness.
Ooh.
He interviews a lot of celebrities, big-time people, and he's just such a genuine guy and a great interviewer. I love his stuff. And it gets very deep on it. Like, I was listening to one that he was interviewing Terry Crews.
Oh,
and
nice.
I thought it'd be like kind of funny and light, and I was like almost in tears, man. Like it was deep.
He's got a story.
Yeah.
Crews. Yeah.
Have you heard a story?
I have.
It's insane.
Bit, yeah.
Oh man, no, you should listen
I'll
to
listen
that.
to that one.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Dope.
I really like, and it's funny because I didn't originally like Sophia Amoruso for her story, and kind of, I don't know, I didn't get good vibes, but her podcast is actually very good. She's the founder of Girl Boss Radio, and she's the one that created Nasty Gal. She has a series on Netflix. She has a really good, of course, Girl Boss podcast, and she interviews everyone from like rappers to business moguls, and she's a good interviewer. I can appreciate a good interviewer.
Right.
That's what I really enjoy. Books right now, I'm reading Extreme Ownership by Navy SEALs and military Jocko Willink. Yes, that's it.
Got it.
I am only 2 chapters in. It is really good. Yeah. And I kind of get bored with books depending on how they're written. I kind of like things to just go straight for the punch.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like a lot of books have fluff to kind of fill pages. And
definitely.
It's hard for me to get into them, but I'm really enjoying that one right now.
I'm a big Jocko Willink fan.
Yeah.
I love that dude. If you see his Instagram, I don't know if you've ever
it's just his watch.
It's just like him getting up at 4:30 a.m. every day.
The discipline.
And just like, but he has this book also that I read called Discipline Equals Freedom. Really easy. I think it's like 100 pages. Just super easy read. But just the message is just so powerful. It's just like, we all talk about motivation and like, oh, I'm so motivated, this, that. You gotta want it when you're not motivated. You gotta just, discipline carries you through so many things.
Yeah. And that's something that even I like still need to work on more. Like compared to some of these guys, it's just like, oh man, I gotta pick up my shit.
We talked about it a little bit. Fitness is probably one of the things you want to focus on a little bit. I have been focusing
on it. Yeah. Well, I had a lot of health issues last year. Which is why I did also step back from networking and other things. So I got a lot of that sorted out throughout the year. It's still kind of figuring itself out, but I'm a lot better now. Nice. And I've been eating healthy and at the gym, so I'm really happy. It feels nice to be back because I used to work out a lot. Right. And then it's hard having that in my life and then not being able to work out at all. Like my doctor literally told me like, don't work out anymore.
That sucks.
Yeah, so I didn't all of last year. Basically donated my money to Movati. So I'm happy to be back at it and feeling healthy. And you don't realize how much of a blessing health is until you don't have it.
Absolutely. Great takeaway. Are there any other books you're interested in or are on the list for next little while that you want to read?
I haven't installed my bookshelf yet.
Okay.
You'll see that in my office the next
Okay.
time you come.
Sweet.
I have a lot of books that I need to get to still.
Yeah, same. I got this massive list and like it just keeps getting bigger. And I'm the same as you. Like I'll start reading a book and it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool. Like it's a great concept, but there's like 500 pages in this, and like, could someone just boil it down and put it in a 1 hour podcast that I can listen to while driving somewhere?
That's it. Yeah.
I absorb it so much better. But
Yeah.
anyways, it's still good to read. I still try. I'm setting a very low bar this year of 12 books, 1 book a month.
That's a lot.
If I could do that, that's fine.
No, good for you. I'll be proud of you.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, any other kind of like personal growth things that, you know, have been helping you out? And like, do you use like a vision board, or I don't know, like everyone's got their own kind of thing or agenda or something.
Yeah.
What helps you?
I always have a journal in my nightstand. My nightstand's actually pretty specific if we're getting deep and personal.
Get there.
So my nightstand, I have a journal. I keep Pocket Pharmacy by Sage. It's essential oils. I keep about 5 different bars of chocolate.
Nice.
I have, I'm telling you, what? Is that weird?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
5 different bars.
I love chocolate. But I love, when I went to Paris in November, I wanted to hit, and I was only there for about 4 or 5 days. I wanted to hit 15 different chocolate patisserie places, right? I didn't even stand in line at the Louvre. I didn't care to go to Louvre, but I stood in line to get hot chocolate. You know what I mean?
Comes back to self-awareness, Anna. You know yourself.
That's it. That's it. And I got 2 bars in there from Paris, one from LA. Those are like the expensive ones. Like these were expensive chocolates too. Like they were no joke.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then just a few other ones. I have a scrunchie, a lip balm, Tylenol, hangover pills.
What's a hangover pill?
So in LA, I got these pills. It's called Blowfish.
Okay.
And you put in a glass of water, and it's guaranteed to get rid of your hangover in 15 minutes.
What?
Yeah, so I keep that in my
nightstand. It's like
nightstand.
a liquid IV or something like that. Kind of. I've heard of a similar kind of.
Liquid
business.
IVs are like $300. So this is very affordable.
This is an affordable.
Yeah, if you go to the States, it's there. You can get it at CVS or something. I don't know why I'm promoting them right now. Like, screw that.
Yeah, what the hell? They're not even paying you, man.
I know,
Sponsor
right?
this podcast. Then we could talk.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, that's really cool.
Yeah, but
That's a very specific nightstand.
Yeah, but what was I getting at? Yeah, the journal, because you're asking me about what motivates me and my goals. I always just write everything down, my intentions, how I feel, just to kind of know where I'm at and compared to my baseline as well. And I don't, you know what? People always say they think of me like they think I'm serious, or they think I'm, really all about business, but I'm a lot more laid back than people think I am.
Yeah.
And the people that have really gotten to know me, like even my roommates, when they moved in, they're like, you're a lot more relaxed and chill than we thought you'd be. I'm like, I don't know why people think I'm so serious all the time.
They just thought you give off some anal vibe, but you're like completely just like, hey man,
yeah.
I like to have things in order, but I'm pretty chill, man.
But even I'm like, this is getting personal, but even the guys I date, they totally have one perception of me, but I'm like the opposite of what people think I am. So it's like weird. I don't know why people think I'm a certain way, but I swear I'm really nice.
Awesome. This podcast has been amazing. I'm sure we could sit here for hours and talk. Yeah. You're really easy to talk to.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed having you here, but we do have to wrap it up.
Okay.
Is there anything before I get to my lightning round questions that you really you were itching to talk about, or you want to get out there and just now's your time. The floor is yours.
Just follow me on Instagram, I guess.
There you go. What is it?
Anna Tran, Ottawa.
There you go.
My Facebook business page, Anna Tran Real Estate. Go on my website, annatran.com. It's getting a makeover right now, so it's like kind of in the turnover phase. Sign up for news. Okay, I'm done.
Awesome. Love it. So we're gonna do a lightning round.
Sure, let's do it.
It's pretty straightforward. I ask you a question, you answer. It doesn't have to be that short. Just answer it. So The first question, and it's kind of funny because we literally just kind of touched on this, but I didn't know that when I wrote
What's
this.
in my nightstand?
No, not that. That would have been a little creepy. But
Yeah.
what's one thing not many people know about you? Because, like, you know how you're just
Oh,
mentioning
yeah.
your perception
That's so
of you.
funny.
Yeah. So, anyways.
So I feel like I know a lot of people on a kind of acquaintance, hey, what's up kind of basis.
Yeah.
But the people who get to know me realize that I'm so different. We just talked about this, and I'm actually really funny, guys.
You mentioned this to me before, and I died because I completely agree with you. My perception of you not being that close with you, like we don't hang out often,
Yeah.
is like Anna's about her business, man. She
Yeah.
gets shit done. She's a hustler. You know, that's also kind of attributed to the social media world that we live
Yeah.
in, where, you know, we're all putting on something on display on our feeds or whatnot, and you kind of make these little, you put people in those boxes a little bit. And once I get to know you a bit, it's like, she's so laid back, she's so cool, very in tune, very genuine. Just
Thank
speak
you.
to her. It's just a combo.
I don't try to, because it's like I literally walk around with like ripped jeans, and all my photos are just like, I don't post a lot. Like in my stories, I'll post about real estate, but a lot of it will be like just me hanging out or me like being 23.
Just a
right?
person. Like, I genuinely believe if it wasn't real estate, if it was some other industry, like whatever you'd be obsessed with at the time, you'd still be the same person with the same passion, drive, and just like motivation for that.
Another, a lot of people think I come from some sort of family money.
Okay.
That's like the complete opposite. Like we grew up kind of poor to middle class, but I guess I come off that way because I don't know, like
They
I like
see the
nice
Mercedes,
things.
they
Yeah,
see the YSL.
yeah. So people definitely prejudge me just because I do like nice things and I do travel and I go to fancy places. But
F those people.
yeah,
Bro. Who cares? Live your life, girl.
But that's the only thing I gotta say for people that have perceptions of me. So
what stereotypes would you want to squash about the real estate industry as a whole? That's a very open-ended question. Like, literally, you can say anything. I didn't put too much into this one.
Can you repeat that again?
What stereotypes would you like to kind of squash or just like debunk about the whole real estate industry? Things people come to you every day and say, oh, like, I don't know, like the bubble thing, for example, would probably be one of them.
Yeah.
Or like, or I hear this a lot, real estate always goes up.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't necessarily always go up. It trends upwards in most cases. But is there anything like that where you would like to set the record straight?
Set the record straight. A lot of millennials ask me how to get into a house before they have money, before they're ready. It's like they just want to get in so quick, and we kind of talked about this. And I hate, like, I'm a millennial, we're millennials, and I hate it when older people generalize millennials as like they want everything, but they do. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I work with millennials, and I'm like, you're not going to get that downtown hot condo for like the budget we're looking at. And it's so hard because all they do is like look at new construction and magazines and HGTV. And it's like, man, just buy when you're ready.
It's entitlement too.
Yeah, it's entitlement. It's like they want to
bank of mom and dad, though. That's also a big part of it.
Yeah.
It's like if mommy and daddy are willing to give you X amount of dollars for your down payment, and that's already kind of taken care of, now you're like, well, I deserve this nice little condo on Richmond Road, like right here in the heart of Westboro, this super nice 2-bedroom, but I only want to spend $400,000 or like
yeah. And it's hard because I get people asking me, like I said earlier, like, how do I buy with, I do not have an employer, or I have like whatever, bad credit, no down payment. It's like, you got to work on yourself. Like, you got to work on it. You got to work on your credit. Got to make sure you have a stable job, because how people see it is the lender. The lender determines how much they will lend to you. And if you're too big of a risk for them to lend you money, why would they take that risk? Right?
Love it.
So that's my answer to that.
If you were to give anybody one kind of tip for networking, and this could be formal or informal settings, one kind of tip for just speaking, connecting, or even generating leads.
Okay. Do not push your business card in their face as soon as you meet them.
Right.
Be genuine and authentic with it. And don't just, because yes, the end goal for networking is to build business connections and networking at business. But I've always believed it's more than that. And so I genuinely say like, hey, how's it going? How's your night? Like, just start genuinely. Some people just come up to me like, hey, my name's this is what I do, what do you do? And it's like, why do I want to talk to you?
Yeah, you just
like,
completely killed my like
yeah, it's
any
like, oh, okay.
any chance of us actually becoming friends. Like, I feel like the goal, and I don't know because I'm not in your business, but I feel like the goal should almost be like right on the cusp of like friendship. We should be like, we should be almost homies. Obviously we're doing business together, but we should like each other.
Yeah. Networking is like dating. Are you just going to slide into a girl's DM and be like, hey, do you want to like sleep with me? It's like, no, you're going to talk to her. You're going to like, you have to go through those steps. You can't just like cold solicit people because that comes off disgenuine. Yeah. And
very
people
low
can
smell
commission breath from a mile away, honestly.
Commission breath. I like that. I haven't heard that one.
Just be genuine with your approach in anything in life. That's my tidbit.
Love it. Don't be desperate.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's kind of silly, but what's one product or service you could not live without?
Product or service?
Yeah, it's like a phone, or like, do you have a maid, or like, I don't know. Is there something you can't
like on a really surface level, or on like obviously like you need that shit in your life level?
On like a surface
like
level, life would really, really suck without this one product.
I mean, life would really suck without coffee, but I feel like that's a basic. Like, I love my coffee. So
an answer's an answer.
A service, if we're just talking like fun, like I love getting my hair washed, getting blowouts, and I love a good valet service. That's why I love going to Giovanni's, because they have amazing service.
You just pull up and
it's like, thanks. Like, I'm not gonna walk around, drive around for 20 minutes and find parking. Like, but that's like I don't need it. That's just like really nice services to have, right? I just enjoy good service.
If you had, this is so stupid.
No, I love it. I like the fun ones.
If you had access to only $1 million, where in the world would you invest it? In real estate, whatever it be. It's so open-ended.
Diversify it a bit, and diversify it on behalf of my parents as well.
Let's say you had to pick one place to buy
$1
million property.
I could only put it in one place?
One place, not diversify.
Okay. That's easy. Ottawa real estate market.
Ottawa real estate market.
$1 million doesn't get you far.
No, not really.
Like, it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Ottawa real estate, simple.
Love it.
Yeah.
This has been a great podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. How'd you enjoy it?
I loved it. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Super easy to talk to you.
Thank you.
We've gone like over an hour. It was really fun. Yeah.
No.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
Just remember, guys, it's not that deep. Thanks for listening to another episode of the It's Not That Deep podcast. For access to exclusive articles and content, please head over to www.itsnotthatdeeppodcast.com. And to help me grow this thing to the next level, here's what I need you to do. Go ahead and subscribe to my podcast on all platforms, wherever you listen, and share with all your friends and family on all social media. And please leave a rating as well. Remember, it's not that deep.